territory and the great province of the Upper Nile. The high priest was the most important fiscal officer of the state, next to the chief treasurer himself. He commanded all the armies and held the treasury in his hands. He is represented more prominently in the monuments than the pharaoh. It was only when Israel became lax in their worship and negligent in paying their tithes that the priesthood suffered, along with non-priestly Levites, who had to look for other work to provide for themselves and their families. In turn, this bad attitude toward the sanctuary and its maintenance caused the nation to suffer still further for lack of spirituality and knowledge of Jehovah. NE 13. 10-13. See also Mal 3. 8-10. The priesthood received 1. The regular tithe. 2. The redemption money for a firstborn male child or beast. In the case of a firstborn bull, male lamb, or goat, they received the flesh for food. New 18. 14-19. 3. The redemption money for men and things sanctified as holy, and also the things devoted to Jehovah. La 27. For certain parts of the various offerings brought by the people, as well as the showbread. La 6. 25, 26, 29. 7. 6-10. New 18. 8-14. 5. Benefit from the offerings of the best of the first ripe fruits of grain, wine, and oil. X 23. 19. La 2. 14-16. 22. 10. Stranger in the latter text means one not a priest. La 14. 22-27. 26. 1-10 except for o texto e acute miritra longo, priest 685 regulations and functions. The priests were required to maintain personal fleshly cleanliness and high moral standards. When entering the tent of meeting and before presenting an offering at the altar, they were to wash their hands and feet at the basin in the courtyard that they might not die. X 30. 17-21. 40. 30-32. With similar warning they were commanded not to drink wine or intoxicating liquor when serving at the sanctuary. La 10. 8-11. They could not defile themselves by touching a corpse or mourning for the dead. This would make them temporarily unclean for service. The under-priests but not the high priest might do so, however, for one in very close family relationship. Mother, father, son, daughter, brother, or virgin sister who was close to apparently, living with or near him. Also the wife was possibly included as one close to him. La 21. 1-4. Any priest who became unclean, by leprosy, by running discharge, or by a corpse or other unclean thing, could not eat of the holy things or perform sanctuary service until cleansed, otherwise he must die. La 22. 1-9. The priests were commanded not to shave their heads or the extremities of their beards, or to make cuttings in themselves, practices common among pagan priests. La 21. 5, 6. 19. 28. 1 Chi 18. 28. While the high priest could marry only a virgin girl, the under-priests could marry a widow, but not a divorced woman or a prostitute. La 21. 7, 8. Compare La 21. 10, 13, 14. Evidently, all the members of the high priest's family were to uphold the high standard of morality and the dignity due the priest's office. Thus, a priest's daughter who became a prostitute was to be put to death, being burned afterward as something detestable to God. La 21. 9. When in the wilderness, at the time of moving camp, it was the duty of Aaron and his sons to cover the holy furniture and utensils in the tent of meeting before the other Kohathites were allowed to come in to carry them, so that the Kohathites would not die. Likewise they uncovered and set up these things in the tent at the new location. New 4. 5-15. On the march, the priests carried the Ark of the Covenant. Jos 3. 3, 13, 15, 17. 1 Chi 8. 3-6. The priests were responsible for blowing the holy trumpets, thus giving definite leadership to the people, whether in the matter of setting up or breaking camp, assembling, engaging in battle, or celebrating some festival to Jehovah. New 10. 1-10. The priests and Levites were exempt from military conscription, though they did serve as blowers of the trumpets and singers before the army. New 1. 47-49. 2. 33. Jos 6. 4. 2ch 13. 12. When the priests were on assignment at the sanctuary, their duties included the slaughtering of sacrifices brought by the people, sprinkling the blood on the altar, cutting up the sacrifices, keeping the altar fire burning, cooking the meat, and accepting all other offerings, such as the grain offerings. They were to take care of matters dealing with uncleannesses contracted by individuals, as well as their special vows, and so forth. The chaps 1-7. 12. 6. Chaps 13-15. New 6. 1-21. Lu 2. 22-24. They took care of the morning and evening burnt offerings and all other sacrifices regularly made at the sanctuary except those that it was the high priest's duty to offer. They burned incense on the golden altar. X 29. 38-42. New 28. 1-10. 2ch 13. 10, 11. They trimmed the lamps and kept them supplied with oil. X 27. 20, 21. And took care of the holy oil and the incense. New 4. 16. They blessed the people at the solemn assemblies in the manner outlined at Numbers 6. 22-27. But no other priest could be in the sanctuary when the high priest went into the most holy to make atonement. The 16. 17. The priests were primarily the ones privileged to explain God's law, and they played a major role in Israel's judiciary. In the cities allotted to them the priests were available to assist the judges. O text acute miritra longo. Priest 686. The priestly administration served as a safeguard to the nation in religious cleanness as also in physical health. The priest was to judge between the clean and the unclean in cases of leprosy of a man, a garment, or a house. He saw to it that the legal quarantine regulations were carried out. He also officiated in the cleansing of those who had been defiled by a dead body or were unclean from morbid discharges, and so forth. Le 13-15. How were the assignments of temple service for the priests in Israel determined? Of the 24 divisions, or courses, of the priests established by King David, 16 were made up from the house of Eleazar and 8 from the house of Itamar. 1ch 24. 1-19. However, at least initially, priests from only 4 of the divisions returned from the Babylonian exile. As 2. 36-39. Some suggest that, in order to continue the former organizational arrangement, the 4 families returning were divided so that there were again 24 courses. Alfred A. Desheim, in the Temple 1874, p. 63, suggests that it was accomplished by each family's drawing 5 lots for those who had not returned, thereby forming from their groups 20 more courses to which they gave the original names. John the Baptist's father Zechariah was a priest of the 8th division, that of Abijah. However, if the above view represents the true case, he may not have been a descendant of Abijah. He may have merely belonged to the division which carried his name. 1ch 24. 10. Lu 1. 5. Absence of full information does not allow for firm conclusions on these points. In the temple service the priests were organized under various officers. Lots were drawn in assigning certain services. Each of the 24 divisions served 1 week at a time, being on assigned duty twice a year. Evidently the entire priesthood served at festival seasons when thousands of sacrifices were offered by the people, as they did at the temple dedication. 1ch 24. 1-18, 31. 2ch 5. 11. Compare 2ch 29. 31-35. 30. 23-25. 35. 10-19. A priest might serve at other times as long as he did not interfere with the allotted services of the priests on assigned duty. According to rabbinic traditions, in the time of Jesus' earthly life, the priests were numerous, so that the service of the week was subdivided among the various families making up the division, each family serving 1 or more days according to their number. Probably considered the most honorable of the daily services was the burning of incense on the golden altar. This was done after the sacrifice was offered. During the burning of incense, the people would be gathered outside the sanctuary in prayer. Rabbinic tradition is that lots were drawn for this service, but that one who had previously officiated was not allowed to participate unless all present had performed the service before. The Temple, pages 135, 137, 138. If this is so, a priest would usually have the honor only once in a lifetime. It was this service that Zechariah was performing when the angel Gabriel appeared to him to announce that Zechariah and his wife Elizabeth would have a son. When Zechariah came out of the sanctuary, the crowd gathered there could discern by his appearance and his inability to speak that Zechariah had seen a supernatural sight in the sanctuary. Thus the event became public knowledge. Lu 1. 8-23. Each Sabbath day, it appears, the priests had the privilege of changing the showbread. It was also on the Sabbath that the priestly division for that week completed its service and the new course began duty for the following week. These and other necessary duties were performed by the priests without constituting a breaking of the Sabbath. Mount 12. 2-5. Compare 1-21. 6. 2 Chiotextoi acute miritra longo. Priest 687. Priest was also used occasionally to denote a lieutenant or chief minister or official. In the list of the chief officers serving under King David the record reads, "As for the sons of David, they became priests." 2-8. 18. Compare 2-20. 26. 1 Chi 4. 5. 1 Ch 18. 17. The Christian priesthood. Jehovah had promised that if Israel kept his covenant they would become to him a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. X 19. 6. However, the priesthood of Aaron's line was to continue only until the coming